me now? Can you hear me now?
Oh.
Hey, big trucker, how you doing?
Doing good. How about you?
I'm good. Greg's having trouble hearing. I think he's rebooting or something.
Oh, delete, reboot.
He's rebooting, yeah. How was your weekend of chasing the poles?
Good and busy. Did you go mini rod pulling?
Yeah, I went over to Union Grove. Well, since Freeport got rained out, I went down to Bloomington too.
Did you?
Yeah, I went down to Bloomington Wednesday night and pulled down there, got third down there on that one. Then went over to Union Grove Friday night and got third.
So that everyone can see and hear you.
Well, welcome everybody to another.
Can you see and hear me? I can't.
I can hear you.
Welcome everybody to another edition of Down and Dirty with the Badger State Tractor Pullers. Good buddy Stacy Butson made it. There we go. He made it. Greg Elsing's having some technical difficulties, I do believe.
He's been having technical difficulties with everything, his tractors included.
Right. Yes, a lot of difficulties. Yep.
Well, we can hear you now.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
I
We
think
re-engineered it. We're good to go.
I think Stacy is trying to say you're the common denominator. I don't know what he's getting at, but whatever.
Yeah.
What's the story on the Thunder Clutch, Greg?
If the crank is good, it'll be back out.
This year.
Back out, right? So it's down at Southern Illinois crank right now, getting checked out. I think the rods were all good. The head was good. The cam was good. As we thought, it all spun in the half of the block that was still there fine.
Right.
But, 3 of the pistons and sleeves were good yet, and 3 were not. But we have a whole box of them. I've been running that motor for 20 years. I always kept every sleeve and piston that kind of was good when I changed them, just for something like this. And we'll put it back together, and I think we're going with a billet block this time if it works. So, Robbie has one left there. So I don't know. The boys have to make up their mind if they want to do it or not.
You guys are allowed billet blocks in the 4-1 class?
Yep.
Good idea.
Target block.
Good idea.
I think I'm not saying if John's on right now. Do you have one or not, John?
I do not have one. I got a recast.
A recast block. Okay.
He's got one on order.
One in order, right? Probably one there with his name.
Well, I'm hoping I don't need it.
If I was him, I don't think I'd touch anything but change oil on the damn thing. That's what I'd do.
Right?
Welcome, John Hollywood Kutz, the man that's got 6 wins out of the last 8 pulls, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yep. Getting lucky.
You've been on fire.
That's a pretty good streak.
It's working pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And you're
What did you change, or is it just a matter of a whole bunch of stuff coming together, or is there one thing that you can put your finger
Oh,
on?
no.
Hey,
I think
aha.
it's a whole bunch of stuff, you know. I mean, it's Robbie's got a pretty good engine program for us, and Weimer's, they got, you know, a good turbo, and say my buddy Adam, actually the fuel injection pump's off of it right now. He's messing with it. So we actually found few things wrong with it. So luckily we, you know, kind of do some maintenance. So Jason Vinny's been helping with some tires, and you know, it's just kind of all working, you know.
It's definitely working. That's for sure. I mean, it was, you know, we're gonna have Mike Gerlich on the show later, and right now I think it's between you and Mike right now.
Right.
Don Meyer Jr.'s right in there too, you know. But it seems like you 3 guys got it going on.
Right. No, it's all working, you know. I mean, like I say, we haven't had no casualties, which our class has had a bunch of casualties in the last week and a half, you know.
Right.
You know, it's kind of getting rough. So exactly, John. But,
I will give you those for Saturday night. If I was going to give the whole shot award for the night, you'd get the whole shot award. You had one of the nicest whole shots. Nobody could ever said he let the clutch out right there. I mean, that thing just slowly picked, gained speed, and it was a nice straight pass.
It's just making good passes right now, you know, is the biggest thing. It's just, I hate to change much at all because it's working so good, you know. It's just, like I say, it's one of them years, there's only going to be one way to go, you know, so kind of ride it out.
How many times have you gone home and you thought, well, we're running great, but if we do this, it'll be better. And you do that, and then you can't get back to where you were.
Well, you're kind of afraid of that, and we've been so busy that you just kind of do your maintenance and make sure everything's good, you know. So
right, and check stuff out too. Like you said, Adam's looking at the pump right now.
Yep.
South.
It's been kind of giving us a little fit here lately, so it's kind of one of them deals. I asked him if he could take it apart and look at it, you know. Actually, Dennis is helping us too with Fair Valley, so.
Yeah, because John, didn't you tell me you just had that pump off before Monroe?
Actually, he did have to mess with it.
So this is since then?
Yeah. Yep. We had governor housing just loosen up on it. It was leaking oil. It was basically all that was wrong with it, but the governor housing had loosened up on it. So
the more horsepower you make, the more
oh yeah. Yep. It's been, like I say, it's been pretty minor, you know, but you kind of just keep trying to check it over. So
Loctite becomes your friend.
Exactly. Well, it's actually,
he's bathing in never sees. He's all full of it all the time.
Loctite or never sees you.
Yeah. Oh, well, like I say, it's been working. We got a lot of good people behind us, you know. So it's just, like I say, everything's kind of clicking right now. So
you even got to drive Trips tractor in Mazo. How was that going back to Super Farm?
It's a good ride too. You know, it's just, you know, the sleds have got it where the speeds between classes are pretty similar, you know, but
and more power than when you were pulling Super Farm, right?
Oh yeah, right.
They've stepped it up too a lot.
No, they have.
Yep.
I think, in my personal humble opinion, when he made a ride on Trips tractor, he knew exactly what he wanted to do on his tractor afterwards.
There's nothing wrong with a little practice lap, is there, John?
As soon as he unhooked, he's like,
oh, I wouldn't have changed much, but like I say, nothing wrong with a practice lap. So
right,
he's nice that too. Yeah, that's a nice pass.
Yeah, yep. We're working with that thing too yet. You know, Trip's busy. They're cooking their mint right now, so you know he kind of asked if I'd take it along. So
that's a lot of labor cooking mint.
Yeah, they were pretty short-handed last weekend the way it sounded. So
Yeah.
I talked to him today. He was pretty tired. So
I'll bet. It's a 24-hour a day thing when he cooks it. It's really
yep,
cool.
yep. I think I don't know. I think he sat there for 36 hours or something. So
Really.
yeah,
Really.
yep.
Well, I seen all the mint wagons. He does a lot of Snapchats. Trip.
Oh yeah, yep.
And our friends down in Mazo, I have some friends that raise mint to it. Probably not, Trip does, but they have about as many wagons there. And it's crazy how they do that.
Yep. Sure. No, he just said, well, he's down there in Rock County, and Rock County Fair was last week. So some of the help wanted to go to the fair, and they were just kind of shorthanded. Sounds like he's about a third done. So, but a long ways to go,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Did he ever give any samples of the mint here to make some juleps?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure if you ask, he'll get you some. Oh, but yeah.
So we have a bar down here that grows his own mint, and he's got probably 20 different flavors of mint juleps here. And
really?
He picks the mint right off the
Yep.
and he cooks it. They're really good. I enjoy. We were there last Thursday night, and they were good. Yep. So
cool.
But
good. Yeah. Like I say,
Jason Vinny's tires. I mean, everything I've seen from him that he's done has been doing really well, right?
Yeah. No, Jason's doing a good job. I mean, I can't say enough good about it. He's doing a good job. He's particular, and he takes a little pride in it. So.
He does.
Mm-hmm.
He did
I just hope he doesn't get too busy.
Yeah. He said, he's done my tires, and he's done the boys' tires, and he's only going to take on so many guys because he's got a farm to run too. He can't, make that his total business. It sounds like. But how was Dubuque, guys? I didn't get to go.
Mm-hmm.
Was the track good?
I thought the track was better this year than it was last year. Johnny?
John must have loved it. He won, didn't you?
What's that? I lost you guys.
The track in Dubuque.
Dubuque?
Yeah.
Oh, it was pretty decent. I mean, it wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst one. Yeah, I mean, it was decent. So say Tim did a good job.
Yeah, I think he knows.
I mean, right. He all he can do is work with what he's got there. It's not like they can change it.
Right.
So in the racetrack,
as long as the guys are trying, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, like I say, they did the best job they could.
Racetracks are notoriously difficult to make a pulling track because they're known to get hard. They get hard for the racing, so they're not as soft and as gooey as like tractor or truck pullers would want. But I thought it was better. The crowd there was amazing.
Right.
If you looked up on top, there's a lot of people on top, but up above there where they stand,
right,
all the way across from the grandstands, all the way over. There was a lot of people there.
Like I say, it was a pretty good crowd there on the lawn and the bleachers. So
right. We haven't filled after action review. I was going to ask you, how many people do you think were there?
I don't know. It's hard to tell because it's so big.
Right.
Last year I got 3,500. So, and it sounds like there was more there this year.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's Dubuque's so spread out too. I mean, you got stands from turn 4 all the way around to turn 1 or through turn 1. So I mean, it's spread out. And then it's kind of a horseshoe shape there too, so they can really put a lot of people in there if they need to.
Right. Yeah. And you can watch from the beer tent up there, and that is a cool beer tent if you've ever been up to the beer tent in Dubuque. We went there last year.
Okay.
We used to go there in high school and go to the beer tent and watch the races on Sunday night.
Well, they got grain bins up there. They turned into a beer tent, and it's pretty cool. Or I shouldn't say the beer tent, but the beer bar or whatever, the beer garden or whatever. It's really neat up there.
Right. Yeah. No, it looked pretty neat to say with the grain bins and stuff there.
Yeah.
I think the show moved along quick, and especially with 2 tracks side by side with East Central Iowa. I thought it was a great show. I had a lot of fun with with Bear. Bear does a great job, and he was into it the other night. The crowd was into it big time. So yeah, that was fun. That was a good night.
Say ECI they had a lot of equipment there, so.
Yep, they're good. They're doing a good job there. And I think Tim's president of ECI too, right?
I believe so.
Yep. Great job with that club too. I mean, they really are. I mean,
that's a busy guy.
Right.
He does a lot.
He's got his hands.
And Andrew Vorwald pulled in the 360 hot stock class, and he was like second hook in the hot stock, and he was fourth hook in the pro stock. So he dunked one, come back, jumped on the other one, and was ready to go just in time. He was moving, that guy.
Did somebody give him a ride between tractors, or did he have to run or walk back by himself?
Oh, I don't know. I'd assume they gave him a ride because it wasn't long. He was boom right back up in the track again. So yeah.
Well, Saturday night was a pretty cool night, thank God, because usually it gets pretty hot down there, right?
Right.
Yeah, it was cooler. It was a really nice night, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
John,
talking about Dubuque there and the races. Riedels that pull the shafted 2-wheel drive truck with us. They haven't much the last couple of years. I think they're kind of slowing down a little bit. But his dad used to race stock cars there on Sunday nights.
Really?
Yeah. As soon as they started pulling, I recognized the Driveline logo on their 2-wheel drive. And I said, I used to watch a car at Dubuque County Speedway with number 1 on the side of it. This had Driveline on the quarter panel. He's laughing. He goes, "That was me."
Did he do well?
Yeah, he was a good runner. Yeah, and his car always looked sharp. He always had the sharpest looking car in the field. It always looked really good. That's why it probably caught my attention as much as anything. But yeah, he ran good. Yeah, that's funny.
So I want to pick Dirk a little bit here. Dirk's dad raced dirt track in Lancaster all the time. And like with the, I don't know if it was the economy class or something, like small cars, front wheel assist cars or whatever, racing them. Sure. We all went down. Dirk was going to drive his backup car and race. And Mason, my son, was probably 10 or 12 years old. And I went and got some beer. Dirk was racing, and we got back. And Mason's not really paying attention. And I said, "Well, where's Dirk in the back?" "Well, he's the one way back there."
It's hard to believe that came out of Mason's mouth.
Yeah, I find that astonishing. That one's a chip off the old block. There's no way.
Yep, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely not that one.
No.
Oh.
I'll never forget that. I about peed my pants laughing. Be honestly, probably 10 years old.
No filter.
No.
Yeah.
So, hey, John, so now that you're reaping so much success in the 4-1 class, are you looking for new mountains to conquer? Are you thinking about going full force?
It's probably not going to happen, Stacy. I don't know if you noticed the old price of corn lately. He ain't very good.
I seen that this morning. Yeah.
Oh,
It's up a little bit today at the end of the day, but it's still ways to go.
Yes, it does. It does.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think so. That next jump, I think, is pretty steep.
Right.
Isn't it, Greg?
Yes. I'm not going to lie about that, but Robbie treats us really good.
Yeah.
You know that, John. And he called me Saturday morning. He said, "Don't pull your tractor."
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I said, okay.
Yeah. He cares. That's just it. He takes pride in it too,
Yeah, he had a couple rod failures, and we're all in the same boat. And he says, "Don't do this." I didn't even argue. I said, "I'll park it. I will park it." Right. What happened at Gladwig Saturday night was terrible, right?
Right.
And what Robbie did, I believed was the right thing.
Right.
And
right.
ended up, maybe not being or whatever. But
well, it's more. I would say it's more a growing pain. I mean, it's the next step.
Yep.
So
I'm a bit out of the loop. What happened to Craig Saturday night?
that's what I mean. So to get everybody in the loop, so Craig Wildman
He
ended
threw a
up
couple rods out right on the line.
right on the line. Gladwig did. So
Yeah.
and
Yep.
Craig Wildman did too with the cloths. So you know, in building motors and doing things, you're going to have growing pains, and when you're pushing them as hard as everybody's pushing them, to keep up with everybody, you're going to find rod bolts that aren't, as strong or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
to
The next weakest link, is what it is,
Yeah.
I mean,
we got to regroup a little bit. So basically what Greg's saying is the ones that had Lemke motors sat out Saturday night so that they all get looked over and make sure that they're good to go before they run them again. So they're not scattering more than what's already scattered. And so it's tough on the class, but it's tougher on the class if something went bad, do a couple more. So
well, it's missing one hook rather than the rest of the year, basically.
Yeah, for me, if that would happen to me, it'd be 2 years.
Right.
I'd be out for 2 years. There's no way I could come back from that in a year.
Yeah.
So,
right.
I mean, a turbo is one thing, right?
Right.
But you've seen what happened to Craig's tractor. That's
it's a mess.
Yeah.
And Stacy and I know that well too. The blower motors are the same way. You start getting in trouble with them, you shut them down because there's just nothing good's going to come of it, and you're going to hatch it. So it's better just to pull a pan and park it and regroup and get it back together and go again.
Yep.
The more horsepower you make, the more finicky they are, and more trouble they are, and more.
When something goes wrong, it goes wrong really bad.
Yeah. So I don't blame you for staying where you're at. I mean, you got to think though too. I was just saying the other night, talking about your class. Your class right now, John, and maybe I'm stepping out of line. Tell me if I am or not. But your class right now, from year 2000, 24 years ago, the pro stock class is basically the chassis 24 years ago with upgrades. But motor-wise, even the 4.1 and smaller Chargers making more power than pro stocks did in 2000.
It's making a bunch more power.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty wild, So I switched from Super Farm to Limited Pro in 14.
Yep. I switched in 13.
Yep. And it's like 850 horse more than when I started.
Yep.
Just, like I say, in turbo improvements and everything else,
But even look at all the classes, like Super Farm is the same thing, Take Super Farm from 2000, you're looking at 8 horse maybe back then. And then, now they're 1800, 1850,
Right.
I built my first Super Farm, and I would have won points that year, but I missed the last event. We had to go on vacation. So back then we had 5 pulls, so it wasn't a big deal. I made 600 horse. And I would have won points that year if all I had to do was show up at the last pull. But the points check was $160, and Badger State was only had 5 events. So you really didn't care much about it. But I wish I would have stayed there now for that last one. Maybe would have had one more point championship.
John, what kind of horsepower are we getting out of a good 4.1 nowadays?
It depends on the dyno. Range.
Yeah, that's the range. Steve. You can't ask him for the horsepower. He's not going to
say everyone's
what's the ballpark figure?
It's just a number. It's just a number. That's all it is.
You seem concerned about it because you said it's 850 more.
Take a look whatever.
It's I don't know, 2,700.
Okay, just curious for an announcer. He likes to state the facts, not just what I think.
That's going to catch, I would say, majority of them.
I've been saying 2,800 to 3. Jeez, here I am.
Yeah, but some guys are saying that.
Yeah.
Some guys dynos do say that.
Right.
So,
like I say, it's just a number you use.
It's a reference point.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Try to leave the end of the day with more,
Right.
When you go to the dyno, they always want you to try stuff. I'm not buying that. This is what I have. Let's make what I have the best. I cannot. That's all you do, right?
If it works better, you're gonna buy it, Greg. Don't give me that.
Yeah.
Whatever.
When you go to the dyno, they always have here. They sent this one over here. Try this one. See what it does.
Right.
You ain't gonna take it back off.
No, maybe. So I don't try it. That's why I don't try it.
Yeah. Okay. Your boys will, though.
They will.
Don't give me that.
Yeah, they do. They don't care.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's all part of it, it's all relative. Biggest thing too is you can make all the horsepower you want, but you got to get it to the ground.
Right.
You got to have.
I mean, the tires and stuff have changed so much in the last 3 years. I mean, it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Tires have been huge, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's all down to hose and tires now.
Right.
That's all.
Exactly. I mean, it's staying on top of them. You got a good set, keep them sharp.
But they do wear out though. Sidewalls start giving up and stuff happens to them, It's and it's so expensive and then you can buy the next set and they're not as good as the ones you have.
Right.
Yeah. And something like the sidewall is starting to give up something like that. That's kind of a slow process. It takes you how many pulls before you realize, you know what, my tires ain't working anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think people videoing the tractors and watching, we video on the tractors and watch the roll in the tires all the time, just so we know that, hey, maybe we got to put more air in them, right? You do that, John, right?
Right.
We always have somebody there videoing the tractors in the first couple 100 feet, seeing what the tires are doing, and it does make a difference.
Right.
So you can take it, and then I always video John's because his are always right on the money.
Yeah, okay. You're watching the mini rods or what?
Hey, yours. I'm not video on tire.
Oh, how's it going, Mike?
Hey guys, how you doing tonight?
Hey, good, Mike. How you doing?
Doing real good down here, thanks.
Got
John, Stacy, Greg.
the two guys competing in Limiter Pro, maybe John Meyer Jr. are the top 3 guys, right?
Yeah, but like John stated before, you gotta be consistent. You never know, everybody can sneak up on each other, so it's just a pole by pole thing, and do your
you can lose it all in one run.
Yes.
I mean, that's all it takes.
Yep. It's fun. It makes it competitive. It makes the person work hard. So that's what it's all about.
Right. Look, Craig.
That's pro stock discounted.
How much is it discounted?
That ain't going anywhere, by the way. You're keeping it.
Looks like he's trying to make you a deal there, Kutzy.
Yeah, right.
Kevin Lindstrom says that must make you at 3,000 horsepower.
I don't think so.
You can probably buy the Claus though too.
What's that?
The Claus might be in discounted too. You don't know.
Might be. You never know.
They both have the same war wounds, I think.
Yep, they do.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Fact. No such thing as too much horsepower. Joe Bettavati.
There's right. But I think we got the 2 guys in Limiter Pro here, like I said, that are really, who else has won any of the class besides you 2?
Tom Gallitz has won.
Tom got one. Adam got his first
Adam
win, I think, as a 4-1 this year. So
that's right.
I think anybody can win. Our tractors most of the time are set up the same as just the whole shot, the tires, how you drive it. I mean, there's lots in the driver. Yes, you do have to work on them and tinker with them and get them tuned up at home. But man, you have to be on your toes to drive, and there's no mistakes to be made.
Just find a combination that works for yourself.
Yes.
I mean, it's just, everybody's.
You don't want to make too many adjustments. It's just the fact if you're happy with it and want to pull all season, or that's what we do anyhow. Is we don't.
Right.
Everyone's that way, busy and everything else. They don't want to work on them.
No.
So it's fun. I really like the 4-1 class. You know what? You guys are talking about the year we switched. I know when we were up at the spring meeting there, Dad and I think that got brought up and we immediately wanted to do it. And I'm glad the association did it. I think it's been a good change for us. And I hope the class stays the same way it is. It's very competitive and like you said, how many horsepower we gain, and we keep seeing to be able to gain a little bit every year. So I think it's a great class.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. Speaking of the class and staying the same like that, I'm sure you guys see and read rumblings of the 4-1 class going component. Is that on the horizon in Badger State at all, Greg, or what's your guys' feeling on components in the 4-1 class?
I don't think so. I always said, guys, the 4-1, if you're going component, I really think the light pro should go component first. They're 1,000 pounds lighter and probably making more horsepower.
And they can go component now anyway, correct?
They can, yeah. But,
Mm-hmm.
Other than Feller's tractor with the rear end there, we really haven't had any driveline failures in Badger State for a while, right?
Yet.
You had one, right, last year, though?
Yeah, we had a transmission. Our transmission messed up in Hillsboro, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. And what that, those things, same thing. You leave them in there for quite a while, that gears fatigue and everything else. So it was kind of time to update it anyhow. So
right.
I personally don't see the need for a component. I mean, you're talking a ton of money, and I personally just don't see it needed. I think we have a great class the way it is, and we're gaining. I think we're doing pretty good the way it is. And if someone's really wants to go component and spend that money, I think they should jump up to another class or whatnot. I mean, the choices are there, what you want to do. I don't think the rules should ever change because a few people want to do it. That's just my personal opinion.
Right.
I'm not trying to start anything. It's just the way I think.
Well, right. If we were down to 5 or 6 tractors, maybe you'd have to do something. We have like 18 guys signed up.
Right. We've had a couple polls. The numbers are down, but people want to do different things, which is good. But on average, we're getting a dozen. And
there's quite a bit of carnage in the last 2 weeks. I mean, everybody's running hard. Stuff's going to break.
And in the last couple of weeks would have happened at a component tractor or a cast.
Right. I mean, like I say, I'd go either way. But for right now, until unless it becomes a safety issue. If some place down the road it becomes a safety issue, well then maybe push a little harder for it.
100%. If it's a safety issue, then we have to do something right. But how much? You can say a 4-1 turbo. We're making this horse. Do you see a 500 horse gain in Limited Pro in the next 5 years?
It's hard to say. You don't know.
But
anything's possible. I mean, like John said earlier, what his jump from 8-9 years ago to what it was till now. I mean, yes, I wouldn't say nothing's impossible. I think it could happen, but
right,
you just don't know. So
I think it only costs $2,500 to get that too.
Yeah,
right.
I think for where we're at now, I think we're pretty good on the component thing. But that's, like I said, that's just our personal opinion down here. That maybe someday, maybe if things keep progressing, and if we see something going south, I think then maybe it's worth talking about. But right now, I think we're fine.
Right. Like everything we've broke this year, honestly, I would break in a Limited Pro in a component tractor or a cast ass.
Right.
I really do.
I mean, the only thing I could see, like Frederick's, it's for the small block deer, it's harder for the transmission and stuff for us to do some of that.
Right. And that's because you have to put that, if you did it the other way to put a profab, you have to buy that heavy.
Right. The rear end would be heavier, and
Right.
But that's the tough part about the deers, like the folks that are watching. So I don't know what Johnny has, but the John Deere's talking about that have stock style transmissions in them, Atlas or Robbie makes them, or Engler makes them, or different, like Mike may have. I don't know what Mike has either, but the Internationals housings are easier to cut out, and you can drop 5-speed profab box in it, and they put a coupler on the front side, and it goes right directly to the pinion on the back side. So it gets rid of all the International internals, and then you have a profab box, which is like a pro stock. Pro stock has that same gearbox in it. So you take out a lot of the, things that'll give you trouble, especially in a super farm, hot farm, or Limited Pro. And, once you get one of them, you're kind of, like Mike said, unless, later down the road, you realize that, we should probably pull it out of there and make sure everything's good. And Stacy and I do the same thing with our gearboxes. Bearings are the weak link. every season you should take it apart if you run a full season and just put new bearings in. You're gonna grenade a shaft in the rear of it. But
preventive maintenance.
Yep. In the things. And the other quick thing I wanted to touch on, like you said, Mike, if you want to go component, jump another class. I think there's so many classes right now as someone announcing the show to the average fan that comes to 2 pulls a year. If we took Mike's tractor and we took any of the 66 series tractors that we have, whether it be a light limited right up on through, and we lined them all up, and we had 2 average fans come out and stand with me and tell me the difference between them, they'd be able to pick out the hot farm and the pro farm look a lot alike, but the others, standing there, it's a 966, it's a 1066, but the difference is, cubic inch, turbocharger, you got 4 5s and all the others. So, it's our job as the announcer to explain all that stuff so that the fans do know. And every time we get another class, then, well, what's the difference? It doesn't look like a much difference in smoke, but
the smoke's the same. And John said that earlier, that the guys with the sleds now are doing such a good job. The ground speed is, 29, 32 mile an hour, no matter what class it is. And, but I do know the first time we had the 401, you really feel the difference in the throttle when you crank that throttle, and it's a good feeling when you have that horsepower down there. And I'm sure the jump to a pro stock's the same way. That it's quite the thrill when you can hit that throttle and you know what you got behind you. And it's fun. Ain't no doubt about it.
Right. And the guys that are really into it, when you go down the track, the people see it and hear it. You can feel it in your chest.
Right.
With the different classes go by. You
get into limited pro stock and pro stock, that's very true. They can tell. You can hear them when they wind them up and let them loose. There's a big noticeable difference. And something that was on the Facebook thing too, someone asked too that, was a little bit upset because Brandon Kutz didn't run Saturday night there. So the thing of it is with the pro stock class, the sleds, just like you guys said, the sleds are just like you guys, no different you guys or Stacy and I. When you get to a pull, Johnny, you make your best judgment of what gear you're going to run, where you're going to move a little weight, tire pressure. Mike, you do the same thing, and you watch and see on the track where the spot you want to run. Greg does, and so does the sled operator. And the sled operator goes from track to track to track too. And with experience, they gain. If I put this weight here and change this gear, I should get them about 320. Then all of a sudden you get somebody whipped up out there at 355 or 370 like the other night. They're not planning on that. They're planning on reeling you in, way ahead of that. So the pro stocks, made the rule. If the test puller goes over 330, we reset the sled. Then that puller has the option to sit out and take 4th place points, or they can run. But all of you guys know if you make another run, that may be one more run later down the season that you don't get, because they're not cool. They're hot. They gain all that heat, and clutch is hot, So there's a lot of things that go into that, and some of the fans kind of wondering that. That's why that's there. So it's saving grace on your engine and whatnot, so that you can fulfill the season. But
that second run is really hard on them. It's like you say, it's just, again, it's either making that run or making the rest of the season, basically,
Right. You could have 20 tractors there. If they're first guy, you could probably come back.
Right.
But 10 tractors, you can't.
Yeah, I think the sled guys, they got a hard job to do. They don't want to put a show on where you go 280, but yet they want to let the guys go 320, 330. And I'm sure he made the right call for what he thought, and Brandon might just had a heck of a run. Those things hook up. When those things hook up, they're gone. And
right.
So they have a hard decision what to do, and I wouldn't want to be in their shoes because it's hard to make everybody happy at a pull what you're doing. So
and guys, a lot of pullers got to realize it isn't about you being. It's about putting the show on, because if we don't put a show on, we're not going to be back.
Yes.
Yep. Right.
You like it. You're going to want a great show there. You don't want people stopping at 280. That's terrible.
No.
Right.
That's
usually harder on the equipment anyways, because that's usually a longer run.
Yeah.
is.
If you-
And you're screaming then.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you run something 310 to 320, that pass is faster down the track than you dead dragging that sled to 290.
Yep.
You know, you're moving quicker.
Well, guys, I hate to move it on here, but I think we got Glenn Bartels coming on a little bit. And Mike, you're here to talk about Warren a little bit.
Yeah, we'll talk about here Saturday night, 7:00. We got the Pro Stocks, Limited Pro, 640s, and the two-wheel drive trucks. And once again, we're going to have the shootout for the 4-1s. They're going to be the first class, and Saunders Oil and Propane is taking care of that. And they've always supported us down there in Darlington like they always do. So we're they want to do that again. So 4-1s will be first class that night, and then we'll run again probably like we did in Darlington. So
how many you gonna take to the shootout?
I haven't talked to Brian, but I'm gonna imagine 3.
Okay.
I don't see any reason to take any more. And we're gonna have food in between the trailers like we do before, during, and after, and kind of do a little socializing. But had talk about the track a little bit. Jeff Becker is going to help us Saturday. We had about 4/10 of rain here late last night, early this morning, and there's a chance Wednesday and Thursday. So I think we're just going to leave everything alone until Saturday morning when Jeff gets there, and we'll kind of work on the track then. But with the weather the way it is, the warm weather and humidity, there's been so many pop-up showers, you just don't know what's going to happen. So I think we're just going to be on the safe side. We won't add any water ahead of time like we usually do. I think we'll let things happen the way it is and work on it Saturday morning.
Right. I would say in the last few years, Mike, you guys have had one of the better tracks that Badger State has pulled on.
It's turned out good. It kind of fades at the end of the show a little bit, but there's, when you got 40, 50 hooks going down there, it takes its toll on it. But like I said, we're just going to, with the rain we've had and the potential a little bit of rain, we're just going to leave it alone until Saturday and add some water Saturday as we need when Jeff helps us, and I think we'll be fine.
Yep.
So, again, Saunders Oil is a huge sponsor for us down here, and so if you guys, anyone sees them around, just give them a shout, tell them thanks and everything. And it's good to have people support you, especially in a small community like we got. So we're pretty happy to have them.
He's helped you quite a few years, hasn't he, Mike?
He's done it for a long time. His family has done this and the Darlington Fair and other things that goes on in the local community is just not the fair. They're huge supporters of a lot of things in the area. So we're very lucky to have them down here.
Yep.
They're also a sponsor of the Badger State Tractor Pullers too. So
yes, they do a thing.
Wherever I go, sit go.
That's right, exactly. So we're glad to have them, and we're hoping to see everyone Saturday and have a good time.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a big tractor pull fan. He was a good friend of your dad's too, I do.
Well, they were. They always used to go and ride together, ride in Brian's motorhome once in a while. Dad would with them, and yeah, they were good friends. And like I said, they're huge supporters of a lot of things down here. The schools, our fall festival we have, and different things like that go unknown. So it's it'd be hard to make things happen if they weren't around to help do what they do.
How many classes have we got lined up for Saturday night in Warren?
4, the Pro Stocks, 4-1s, 640s, and the two-wheel drive trucks.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
It'll be two different states, 2 different shows on Saturday.
Yep.
Yeah, I was going to say, John, you got to talk a little bit about Utica, right?
Utica Festival will be Saturday afternoon. I don't have the time right here. I think it's 2. Is it 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock? Starting, we'll have Super Farm, Hot Farm, Pro Stock Diesel trucks, Light Limiteds there, I do believe. Yeah, so there's 4 or 5 classes there Saturday afternoon, and then afterwards will be followed up by Stacy and I and the Mini-Rons down there at Utica Fest. And the band Cherry Pie will be playing in the beer tent afterwards. So everybody make a single file line to the beer tent, no pushing and shoving.
I'll be in Warren, John. Sorry.
Oh, you're going to Warren?
Yeah, I'm going to Warren.
Well, leave your tractor there. I'll drive it.
All right.
So, yeah, we got 3. And then Friday night, we're in Oshkosh. I thought Glenn was going to be on here at 20 to 8, but maybe he's not on. I know Chandler is Glenn Bartels tried to log in. Or Ryan, who's running it tonight? Ryan was here earlier.
Ryan was running earlier. Yeah. You talk about a busy weekend coming up. Thursday night, the Butson brothers are heading down to Mount Sterling, Illinois for an ITPA hook on Thursday night, just to kind of get warmed up for the weekend.
Right. It's fun. It's busy. It's almost a time job just pulling.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was out trying to mow my lawn. I'm trying to catch up with Tracy Paulson. I think she's up to 23, probably 24 times now. She's mowed her lawn this year.
Right. Well, yeah, they had some problems in Maysville cam gear where they welded it, broke the weld and it slowed the tractor down. But went down. He went down Saturday morning to Wally's in Dubuque at 7 or 8 in the morning. He headed out. I don't know. He was there early in the morning and they got it figured out and fixed it, and he ran a lot better on Saturday. Tracy said there's something wrong with it. Friday night in Maysville. So yeah, there was. The cam gear. Yep.
Looks like Glenn coming on. Maybe.
There we. Yep. Hopefully we can talk about Oshkosh a little bit. And I haven't been up there since they moved the track, but the guys all say it's a great place to go pull now. So. And it's a huge. I mean, they get 4,000 or 5,000 people in the stands there. It's always fun to pull in front of that many people.
Yeah. The race. If you haven't been up there since, Greg, the racetrack is gone. It's like it never existed. It's gone.
That's right.
Wiped off.
And I don't know if you've seen Ben Hand's Snapchat today of Milledgeville too. That racetrack's gone too.
Really?
Yep, and it's all laid out flat now. It looks really. Yeah.
Wow.
Didn't know that. That's good.
Wow.
Yep. The all
That'll change the character of the Milledgeville tracks because it's always been start high and keep it high for a while and then let her go down low.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Huh.
Everybody knows this is Bob.
Hey, Bob. Bob with 1 O. Bob.
Yeah.
Don't go there, Elsie.
Yeah.
13. Remember that.
Wow.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
Bob.
So I see somebody on there I forget the name, just said that Stacy and John need to be thanked for best announcers in the country. And yes, you guys are. We all know.
Yep. I know I talked to Stacy after the Monticello, Iowa poll, and I don't think I've seen Stacy so excited and so into it as Monticello being down on the track. Yep. A lot of that was fed on how good the poll went, but the fans were really cheering on, and that's Stacy fed on that. And then the big screens down there. So yeah, Stacy, you guys do one heck of a job, and you know what you're talking about too with your experience of pulling. That helps a ton too, and it'd be pretty boring to listen to something less. So you guys do one heck of a job. It's fun to listen to you, and it don't matter what class it is either.
Right. You guys got a lot of knowledge on all the classes.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, Mike. Stacy was wound up that night.
Oh, he was. He was. His hands were going, and he was up and down. And I wish we.
It was pretty hard not to in a place like that, as big as it is, and
we should have videotaped him.
Man.
Yeah, it was. I was caught up in the moment. How's that?
That was good. Yeah,
nothing wrong with that, Stacy.
No,
like I said, it was a good time down there.
Thanks for the kind words. I appreciate it. It was fun. John knows as well as I do. Sometimes the event dictates what happens. Really,
it does. Yep.
And that was very much the event there. I really was just add on to the whole thing. It was quite the event.
Right.
I want to say something too. Thank you guys. The announcing part, though, a big part of that, and Stacy knows this too. When you go somewhere and they got a good sound system like Tower Sound,
yes,
they make or break that for us. If it's a bad or a cheap sound system and people complain you can't hear you, and if you got a good sound system and a good sound person that works with you, man, that really helps.
He's there quite a bit at most of the polls. So if something does not quite right, they can make some adjustments too as we go along. That's instead of just being status quo there, so that helps too. But yeah, that Monticello thing, I hope we get to go back. That was a good experience, and I think the track really dictated the show and the amount of people. That's the same thing. That grandstand was so big, but yeah, there was a lot of people spread out, and it was a fun time.
Yep. The only struggle we had there was our laser. We'll make sure that's
It's equipment. It's going to fail. It doesn't matter what it is.
Right.
That actually helped build excitement too.
Right.
Had to wait on the distance. Yes.
My biggest worry is it wasn't going to work in the middle of the class sometime.
Yeah.
What are you going to do then?
Right.
I asked because a lot of times the guys at Sled will have their their GPS stuff and they'll keep track of it there, but Brandon wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, oh God, don't let this thing break.
So what was the real reason there? Some of the hooks it worked just fine, and the next one it wouldn't catch it. What was the reason? What just?
Well, Ron was saying that he'd lock it on there, and what you do is you lock it on the prism, and you let it sit, but it was floating around. It wouldn't lock onto it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is that the prism's fault or?
I don't know. Well, they changed prism as it worked better, so it could have been.
Okay.
That thing might vibrate quite a bit going down the track too, and I don't know what's exactly made of or what's in there, but maybe the vibration has something to do with it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Well, somebody just asked me why my tractor wasn't in Dubuque. Robbie, I have the same connecting rods in my tractor as Greg does, and a couple other guys in the last couple of weeks that broke rods, and Robbie, we're going back to the old rods. Take these out. Don't pull it. Don't wreck it. So we parked it, and didn't go to Dubuque. And I know that's where Gary Brinkmeyer didn't go, and and Wildman's, because we're all in the same boat. And no, Randy's still a little different.
He's older.
Yep, Randy's still got the older stuff, and I shouldn't say the better stuff, but he's got the older stuff in it.
Hey, Greg, are you guys going to be all retooled up to be at Warren Saturday night then?
That's my plan. I dropped it off yesterday morning at Robbie's, and I had it all ready for him to. We're going to do an in-frame there, so that doesn't mean when I do an in-frame, when you say in-frame, that means you don't pull a motor out.
Right.
They're taking the head off there, and they're going to take the oil pan off and just push them in and out.
It's all apart.
Yep. It isn't just like you can put different rod caps on a rod, because you can't just unbolt and put a different rod cap.
You got to fit them and size them.
Yep, they got to be fit and sized and put in.
Mm-hmm.
So people that thought, well, why don't you just pull the oil pan out, put different rod caps on? You can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
They have to be fit and right.
Right. Robbie wants it right. It's just
he does. Robbie cares about what we do here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He does.
Is Gary Brinkmeyer going to be ready for Warren?
I think so. I bet you they are. I'll bet you they are.
They're doing the same thing. Theirs is up there. I hope I'm not speaking out of turns, but they were told to not pull, and they're doing the same thing. So I'm pretty sure his intentions is to have everybody running and going, if everything goes good, to have them there Saturday night. So it's probably a good thing we're Saturday night, not Friday night. Give everyone an extra day. But like everyone said,
nice having a week off or weekdays off of not pulling for once.
Yeah.
What a long time, Mike.
Yes, it has.
Yeah,
but,
right.
you said it earlier.
A long
Robbie,
couple
really,
weeks.
He treats his customers very good, and he didn't have to tell everyone not to pull. He was being proactive, and means a lot. But
right,
but I'm pretty sure they're going to do their damnedest to get everyone there Saturday night, and so I'm got our fingers crossed. That pro stock class, we probably averaged, besides Dubuque, because of that, 12 tractors in each class. And you go around the country, you tell me where they're going to have 12 pro stocks consistently all over the country anymore. And we got a good group of guys running like that. So we want to get them there.
Yep. And it's and every one of them, any one of the guys can win every night. Just be rounds win more, but you can get right in there with them.
Yes.
You make a good pass, like we've been right with them. So
everybody's getting their turn.
Yep. But Jason Brown's got a hell of a motorsports program there, and he's got guys working on stuff, and they've been a great addition to our club. Yeah,
it's when you see those trucks roll in, and you got 3 tractors in there, 2 for sure, maybe 3, that it kind of gets you excited that pro stock class is going to be a good one to watch at night. And them guys, they're there to win. There is they want to do as
Right.
good as everybody else. But so it's great to see them guys show up. It's
just like the Coach boys, Ryan and Brandon Coach. You see them guys showing you. Them guys are here to win.
Yep.
Right.
They don't mess around, and I don't think anybody does. But
no.
Mm-hmm. But,
Greatest people you ever find without a helmet on. When they got the helmet on, it's all business.
Yep.
Mhm.
I just got a text from Glenn Bartels. He was trying to get on. He said he can't get a link, but we'll thank him. We'll try and get him on next week or something and do a recap or whatever. He says it's not working, but we'll try it out. That's Oshkosh. I'm going to talk a little bit about Oshkosh and their new track. But that new track's been there for a while yet, but it's all good.
So Mike Stefan's on here and says, completely understand that, Greg, not only for your sake, but for the sake of the safety for the fans too, is the way I look at it. Will you pull in Hillsboro, Greg?
Well, I've got a campsite there and a camper rented, so I'll have that for sure, but I don't know about the tractor. If the tractor's running, it'll be there,
Are you guys planning on going up to Don's Pole with the 4-1s?
We are, if everything goes good. The next two is our intentions, yes, but
Greg, is it a points hook or not?
no, not for us.
Not for you. Not for Badger State.
No, not for Badger State. No, but
We'll see how it goes. My wife has got other plans for me that weekend. So if it was a points hook, somebody else would have to drive it. What?
Bring it up there. The boys will run it for you.
Yeah. They get to fix it then too.
Right.
Well, maybe it'd be time to pay Trip back.
Well,
there you go.
he's more than welcome to. I've tried getting him on it many times.
That's only like 2 weeks. He should be done with Mint in 2 weeks, I would think, right?
He's a third Don, so it just depends on the weather. You know how it is, Greg.
Yep. Mint is high labor.
Right.
There's a lot of labor in that.
Right. I think, what did he say, Saturday they cooked 66 loads, tubs or whatever, So I know he was there all night, I had Snapchats on the way home, and he went till the next day. So
Yep. And it's crazy. You got 66 loads of mint, and what are there? 8 ton in a load maybe?
Right. And
you get drops of mint.
Yep. Just a couple pounds of oil.
Right.
I think it's like 75 pounds of oil or something out of a wagon or something.
Hey, Mike.
yes,
at Warren, are we going to have turkey dressing sandwiches again?
we are. If we didn't have that, we'd have a lot of upset people. So we are having that for sure.
I
You
love
guys are
those.
going for that award, ain't you?
Yep.
Those are great, man.
It's a treat to have that. You don't get that very often. So we went up there this weekend and got everything set up for that. So looking forward to it.
I mean, I think that frying pan has stepped up the.
Yes,
It has. You get everybody fighting for it. It's competition. It's no different than pulling.
So my next award one I was thinking about doing is the best track crew, right?
Mm-hmm.
The track crew that gets the track prepped the best and keeps it maintained during the event, I think.
yep. And the quickest.
Right?
Quickest.
The quickest too. Yep.
What would we do for a prize for that? I'm looking for suggestions.
Broken down wobble wheel or something.
Right?
Yeah.
A golden shovel.
Yeah.
There you go.
Chip Downing says, I'm
Yeah.
scared to drive it. Then I'll want a bigger turbo.
Well, John,
That was my plan. It'd be a lot easier. We both go the same place.
John making a deal on a whole tractor trip because he's going pro stock anyway. So we got the wheels motion here for you guys.
You
No.
might as well get the rumor going now.
Yeah.
Here.
Keep it going, Stacy.
I'm here to help.
He's from the government.
For a little bit about Warren and saying it's a small pool, but a lot of great competitors. He's right. Then that's
Yep.
the place to pull.
Yep. So we have a good time. So like I said, Saunders going to do the shootout for us. 4-1s will be first, and I'm not sure the rest of the class order, but that's what we'll do, and we'll find out when we get there. And hopefully we get some the two wheelers, get some numbers there, and have put on a good show. So looking forward to it.
I think we'll
Be
be
a
all
lot
right.
of fun. Looking forward to it.
Yep.
So we got a big weekend again with Friday night in Oshkosh, Saturday afternoon in Utica, and Saturday morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So we're about time here. How about last thoughts from everybody quick, and we'll have to wrap it up. Stacy, go ahead.
I would say all these years pulling is still fun, and it's gonna be fun, and it's I'm just happy to be able to be part of it. You know, it's a little different with Dad not here, but I would not want to spend the summer not doing it. And I got a heck of a family behind us, the grandkids, and we really look forward to going. And I hope we can continue this down the road. It's a heck of an opportunity to be able to do this with everyone we get to do it with. It don't matter what class you're in, who you are. It makes me feel good to do it, and I'm very proud to be part of it.
Right. It's a big family deal. You know, I got 2 boys that actually my daughter too. I mean, my daughter hasn't missed a hook this year.
One thing I want to add to that, I don't want to interrupt you, John, but our family members and even my daughter-in-law, son, they take time off in the summer to go pulling with us. They could go do other things, but they decide to go pulling with us, and that's huge, and it means a lot. So that our family members, you know, they could do other things, but they do with us, and that's what they want to do, and that's what makes you feel good, that they want to be part of what we're doing.
Right. It's family members and non-family members. Maybe,
right.
You know, I mean, it's all a family, but let's say they might not be relation, but you know, they're still family and they still come. You know,
there's other things they could be doing, but they want to do what we're doing, and so that's pretty good.
All right.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'll go with that too. I mean, my boys and I work together all day long at farming, you know, and it comes at 7, 8 o'clock at night, and we're supposed to be going home, but we got to stay and work on the pulling tractors, and that's our, you know, and you're mad at each other all day long for what happened, but then we're going to back. All right.
You know, when you have a day like that, when you can turn around and chuckle about it, that makes it all worthwhile, and you're glad you do it, and you get up the next morning and do it again.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
Daisy.
Oh, me, I just enjoy the snot out of it. It's a lot of fun. It's all I've done my whole life, you know. So this is my gig. I love it. You know, it gets a little. We run ourselves a little ragged sometimes. Like, you know, this week here we're going to go Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You know, but hey, we got Sunday and Monday off before we start hitting it again. So hey, we're having fun.
Yep.
Unless you break something, then you got to work Sunday and Monday.
Yeah, I got to go out. I got my gearbox all apart. John was talking about that earlier. I knocked reverse out of it last Wednesday, and I tore it apart and every bearing shot in it too. So we got some work to do.
Mm-hmm. It's a blessing in disguise for you right there. That's all.
Yeah, I'm lucky I knocked reverse out of it, because I wouldn't have caught bearing failure ready to happen.
You would have. It just been a different way.
Yeah, I know. It would have really messed it up good. John was how that goes. So yeah, you guys talk about working on them. Our tractors may be small, but they require lots of work too.
Right. No, exactly.
That's like the boys' tractor had a tick in it before Monroe, and we said, "Well, we'll find it." And
you could hear it at Monticello.
We took the injectors out, ran it out, did everything good, and checked. I mean, it was leaking oil out of the front. We thought, well, the bolts were loose. We tightened them up, you know, but the crack was below the front cover.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
The tick was the bomb inside there going off.
John, what do you got?
I think we've had some great pulling the last few weeks here, and it's been busy, and it's been a lot of fun. Man, last weekend was great calling the shows, and Stacy's been in on it hard calling the shows, and I know Christopher, he's happy as heck all the time too calling the shows, and it's just great. It's great to see everybody have successes. It's also great to see other pullers help others out. When something goes wrong or someone needs a part, see that all the time too. Mm-hmm. It's behind the scenes that the fans don't get to see. That, you know, if Mike's got something that Johnny could use, guarantee he's going to give it to him. Either way, they're not looking out. We're going to make it work, you know, and that's the true fun of it. The true competitors. You know,
we all want to beat each other on the track, you know. I mean, that's just it.
So with that, thank all the fans for watching every week, Down and Dirty with the Badger State Tractor Pullers. And Mike, yes, Stacy and I are both going to Hillsboro, I do believe, for the weekend of fun up there with the Pro Pulling League and up there, Don Salama's event. It's pretty awesome. So hopefully we'll have Don on next week to talk about that coming up as well. And we'd like to thank Front Street Toys, Slum Enterprises, Casper Egg, and Trip Downing and his farms there that help us out every week with Down and Dirty. And all the fans that watch Badger State and come on and watch us tonight too. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, John, for coming on. Always enjoy talking to you guys. So thank you much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it. See everyone this weekend.
We'll try and get Glenn Bartels on next Monday night and talk a little about Oshkosh. He was trying to
tell Glenn we'll see him Friday.
Yep. Friday. All right.
See you guys.
Yep. See y'all later.
Yep. Goodbye.
All right, everybody. Have a good night.